Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sweaty Casuals, brought to you by the Snowflake Sanctuary Discord server. This is the podcast where we usually talk about the A to Z's of the games we love to play, from the state of rank systems to our thoughts on the newest sensations, and everything in between. My name is Zach, and along with my co-host, Nox, we will be your guide as we traverse Elo Hell. Small reminder, we do swear, so viewer discretion is advised. Today we're joined by Invader Caramel and Lord Bandito, who, along with Nox, have recently gotten an achievement that only 1% of gamers have gotten in Baldur's Gate 3, a completion of the game in honor mode. They are joining us today to give us the full story on how everything went down. Full disclosure, we will be talking through the entire game of Baldur's Gate 3. This includes the epilogue, choices they made, strategies they used, characters they romanced, everything in between. If you want to listen but you don't want those spoilers, just come back once you finish the game. We don't want to ruin it for you. Let's get into our icebreaker. What is the most challenging game that you've ever played? These can be self-imposed or otherwise. Caramel.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Well, the first thought I think of is Zelda Ocarina of Time, but I was like 7. So of course it's gonna be challenging for a 7-year-old, and I had my older brother-in-law just be like, here's how you do this one, whenever I got really frustrated. But ultimately the most challenging, and it's been this honor run. It has to be. It's so emotionally taxing.
I would have to echo that. I've had challenging games, like I would say Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was incredibly challenging for me, especially because that's designed to play on a controller, and I was playing that on PC. So there's a bit of a learning curve there with controls. But in terms of all around challenging, Baldur's Gate and the Honor Run were incredibly challenging due to not only learning how to play D&D, learning how combat works, learning how to operate the game, and then also learning how to manage my emotions while playing with 3 others through a very emotionally taxing experience where we had to, or 2 others, excuse
No,
me, the
Shadowheart
3
counts.
of us. Shadowheart
Shadowheart
does
has a
count.
lot of
I was
emotion.
Shadowheart's babysitter the entire game.
Nox, we're counting people, not personalities.
I know towards the end of Act 3, all 3 of us experienced a bit of burnout with our run. So being able to push through that and still get our achievement, because it is what we wanted. It's really cool to talk about it now. But when we were in the middle of Act 3, I was like, good God, it is getting to be a lot. So in more ways than one, Baldur's Gate was challenging and brought its own unique challenges, more than other games.
Much like Asterion, I grew up with an aversion to the sun. So I played just a tad bit more games.
Love that.
2 immediately come to mind, games that have like genuinely pissed me off. I finished it out of spite, but genuinely pissed me off. Oh god, Devilman. No, hold on, I have it. It's DMC3. I'm trying to remember what the acronym is.
Devil May Cry isn't it?
Is it Devil May Cry? That sounds
Devil
right.
May Cry. Yeah.
Devil May Cry 3 spent the entire game not knowing how to reflect damage, how to dodge properly, and somehow got to the final battle where I was forced to learn. So that was an experience. And then all of Cuphead sucks ass. Don't play
I've
it.
heard that.
Heard.
I've heard that.
Time.
Heard that.
I lost the bet, so I had to.
You do that often, not gonna lie.
I shouldn't, but I do.
You also lost a
I
bet about
still
League of
remember.
Legends.
Yeah, I remember when you had to play League with us.
Which is ironic. League ended out better than those games did.
I had to think about it for more than a hot minute, and it's funny because I did think of Ocarina of Time, which I've still never beaten. I had a weird glitch with my game. Phantom Ganon was like actually unbeatable, and I just kind of never went back.
That's
So-
just when you start becoming adult Link.
I know it was really awful, and it's funny because I've beaten Phantom Ganon in other games. I knew it was a glitch. I knew it was like an actual problem with the game. It's just one of those like I keep being like I'll go back to it at some point because I've got the GameCube and Master Quest, but I just haven't gotten there.
I sped run it because it was boring.
Get him. Tell him how you
Sorry.
really feel.
If you can't throw,
Is
if
this
you
on the
can't,
N64?
No, it was on the GameCube. But there was
Oh,
I had an issue where you couldn't whack the ball back.
Yeah.
Like the
that is a
timing
problem.
didn't matter. Yeah. So, one day I'll get there. And I really
Let's
would
play.
like to finish that.
In due
Let's
time.
play
I
on
thought of
Zelda Ocarina of
I
Time.
also thought of Fallen Order.
Huh.
Because that I have 100% of that on the hardest difficulty, including all the
Shush.
achievements.
Good lord.
However, the one that jumps to my mind is actually my self-imposed challenge in Pokemon Legends Arceus. So, for anybody who has played a Pokemon game but hasn't played Arceus, it plays very differently. It's focused around completing the Pokedex and not like, hey, go complete all these things. Like there is a story and there is a progression, but like the big thing is complete the Pokedex. And in each Pokedex entry, there's multiple things you can do to further your Dex entry along. And once you get level 10 on all of them, you get the Shiny Charm, which is big and exciting. It's usually a reward for just completing the Dex in the normal games. However, if you go and perfect the entry, which requires I have one pulled up here. Raichu for example has what is that, like 35, about 39 different tasks, and they range from like catch one to use thunder 70 times with Raichu. But if you do all of them, so it's like 30 to like, oh gosh, I think actually I want to say like 40 is the most number of tasks you do, but if you do all of them, then you get increased shiny rates and catch rates. So I went and perfected every single Dex entry for all 242 Pokemon in there, and on top of that, I've decided that I was going to complete all of the Path of Solitude, which is where you use a specific Pokemon with only shiny Pokemon. So I'm still working on that. I can't find a damn Burmy that is female, and once I get that, I'll be able to move on. But
Good
I've
lord.
already caught, I think,
I've never
200.
completed a Pokedex in my life.
Arceus is well worth it because
guys
it's actually
read?
like it makes it fun.
Not even in red. I picked the Pokemon I wanted and moved on.
I
It's
only did it once.
genuinely easier in the newer titles than it used to be.
Yeah, it was a bitch and a half.
You go and find somebody to trade with. Like nowadays, you just go in the GTS and you're like, cool, got it.
I got lucky and my brother didn't give a shit about the game, so he traded me whatever I wanted.
It's actually funny. So one of the new games, Caramel, remind me, I think you played Gen 4 at one point?
You're gonna have to be more specific than just Gen 4.
Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum.
No, actually, I never played Gen 4 then.
Okay,
I
there's a
played
famous.
Fire Red. I think that was 3.
That was 3. There's a famous meme though in Gen 4. There's a trainer named Mindy, who trades you in a Haunter. However, it's holding an Everstone, so it can't evolve. So everybody calls her just like Heartless Mindy. And they redeem themselves in the newest set of games because there's a trainer who trades you a Haunter. And if you talk to her afterwards, she's like, What did you think it would be holding? An Everstone? That'd be cruel.
At least it's self-aware.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
With all that said, let's get into our topic today.
Yeah. So
Really
going
quick.
off of
I have one question for you because
yeah.
I'm the ignorant one here. I don't know
Sure.
anything. What's an honor run?
Oh my god. An honor run in Baldur's Gate 3 is the normal game, but it is at the highest difficulty. I believe it is technically tactician, but it's higher than tactician, correct? And bosses have legendary actions. So they have extra abilities that make the fights against them incredibly difficult, which makes the game itself more incredibly difficult. The other special thing about an honor run is that once your party dies, your party dies. It gets switched to a tactician run if your entire party goes down, and you cannot no longer continue in the honor setting. So we completed the game, leaving every single fight with at least one party member standing. So that is an honor run in base. Bandito or Caramel, do you have anything to add to that?
I think it can go back to tactician mode, but I think it specifically just goes to a custom mode where you can just at that
It's its
point
own thing.
your honor run is done. We've never really messed with our custom modes because
They're
as we'll
dead.
go into it, as soon as like honor run is done, we would just scrap it. It's over.
Yep,
Why
move on.
play it?
Mm-hmm.
And how many honor runs did each of you do?
I think we got to 5.
This was
and
my
on the 5th
first.
one, we played with Nox.
We need the other adventure. We needed to do.
This was my first attempt.
When you complete an honor run, you are
yes.
rewarded with golden dice. When you roll in game, there's an option where, depending on what version of the game you buy, you could switch out the skin of the dice. For example, I believe if you get the digital deluxe edition, there are dragon dice. They're red, black. It's pretty cool looking. It's nothing compared to the golden dice.
It's not the gold.
The golden
The
dice
gold-
are so worth it.
Oh my
So
god.
now that we've completed the game at its highest difficulty and the biggest pinnacle of achievement in this game, we can now go back and play it again with golden dice.
With golden dice.
It keeps us playing.
And
It's that
mods.
replayability we talked about last time.
The skins market is
after-
alive.
Because
Mhm.
after doing a long, like few months long honor run, the first thing we want to do is play more.
Go
Baldur's
back
Gate.
again.
But to kind of get us into the format of tonight, we had done a previous Baldur's Gate episode with actually the same cast here. And we talked a lot about the ins and outs
We're
of
the
what we loved
favorites.
about the game and its replayability and different aspects of it. And to avoid doing a repeat episode just with the different twist on it, we're going to do it a little bit differently, in which I and Bandito and Caramel have drafted up a general narrative of our entire honor run from start to finish, in which we will touch on our biggest points of strategy, oopsies, funny moments, big story moments that we went throughout our honor run. A few facts about our game. It took us 90 hours and 36 minutes to do this. 30 hours was definitely spent looting and trading,
100%.
which was a source of my frustration, as I just wanted to keep going.
If
but
it's
God
not
bless.
glued down, it was mine, and I
But
was
God-
going to take it.
Yes,
And we were
but God
gonna
bless
sell it.
Bandito and Caramel for building me out and building everybody out. We were OP just based on our armor
Force-
and our weapons.
A force to be reckoned with.
Correct. So bear with us as we move through this. As we walk through our story, it's hard to fit 90 hours of content into a 1-hour recap. So it'll help if you know the story of Baldur's Gate to understand where we're at in hours, but we'll talk through our biggest plot points. So our story begins with 3 characters: Imogen, the Seldarine Drow evocation wizard, which was played by me; Lyric, our Wood Elf College of Swords bard and battle master fighter, who was played by Caramel; and Danny, but make sure it's a lowercase d, not a capital D
Very
at the beginning.
important. It's a completely
Danny,
different character if it's uppercase.
who was a Dragonborn Oath of Vengeance Paladin Eldritch Knight fighter and Berserker Barbarian, which, if you know anything about the game, you'll hear that and you'll go, oh shit. And he did a
Broken.
throwing build, which was insane.
He was a big strong dwagon.
A big, strong
Big
Dragonborn. We also made these characters in mind, knowing that we were going to have Shadowheart as our life cleric with us throughout the game as our 4th party member.
Oh,
So-
real quick, just to add on to that.
Yeah.
If you switch Shadowheart and Keeper as the trickery domain, you're stupid. That's all.
Yeah. If you want someone there for healing, life domain is all you can do.
Just switch her over. It
It's
makes your
insane.
life 10 times easier.
It's the
It's
best
insane.
decision.
Absolutely.
Honestly.
She does double the
Saves our
healing she
life.
did in Trickster domain, and she does
Mhm.
way more. Also, if you just have all of her healing and then use Glyph of Warding, you're good to go. You're fine.
Mhm.
You can do everything you need to do.
You don't need anything else.
No. So to start out the game, obviously we started in Act 1. The beginning of the game proceeded as normal for us going to the Tieflings and the Druids. We saved Arabella. We recruited Shovel. We fucked up some harpies, and we made our way into the Blighted Village. It's probably our biggest plot point to first start. We walked in, and it was the only time that my drow self was useful based on my race. Just based on my race. The goblins loved me. They bowed down to me. We got to walk in and do whatever we wanted. It was great. So if you want that interaction, drows are pretty cool. But we went over to the ogres, Lump, Chalk, and Fank, in which I was like, we should kill them. XP. And Caramel said, wait, They can be our allies. So we talked to them.
For now.
And from the beginning of the story up until the ogres, and then here on out, Caramel became our talker, as we called her for the rest of the game. So, Caramel, talk about your character and why you were the talker and what was your experience with that.
So I didn't mind being the talker. I prefer talking my way out of fights generally in the game. But of course, me being the bard, my charisma was high, so everyone generally just already liked me when they talked to me. At least in the game they do. So it's a nice pace change. But either way, it was really nice being able to like figure out the best options. Picking always persuasion or deception was usually our best bet. And I played the game a few times to know where to talk and when to fight. When it was when to fight, I let one of the other two, mainly Danny, go start it off.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, I would just be like, wait, hold on. Let's do this first. Talk our way into getting some coins or some benefits of some sort, and then we'll kill them. We almost always ended up killing them anyway.
For the XP.
But we all for the XP. It was everything was for the XP. No matter what it was, no matter how hard or degrading it was for the XP. But it was actually kind of fun. I just had to remember constantly, oh, I gotta go first. Whenever something would trigger, I had to go first. And I usually like to let other people take that lead, but I had to be like, all right, are we talking? I'm going in first. So it was a little bit different for me.
Absolutely.
Just to clarify, Caramel, we do like you.
No. Let me have some self-deprecation, please.
Absolutely. So Lyric went in and talked to the ogres, in which we made our brand new buddies, and they gave us a bell. And they said, ring that if you ever need us. And we were like, that's cool. We probably won't, but it's good to have, right? Well, then we walked over to the goblin camp. And at the goblin camp, the first big idea we had to make some moves in this run is to take the first of the goblin leaders, which I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but the one that you find in the first room. Princess Gut, yes. And talking to her procs a situation where she walks into another room and she has more conversations there. We said, we're going to go into another room. We'll kill her there. Nobody will know. Right? Right, Bandito?
Well, that was the idea, but we were not so lucky. See, I don't know if it was because there just happened to be a door open, or someone saw through the cracks in the walls, or she was really fucking loud when she screamed out loud. However, she ended up alerting somebody outside, who then rang the bell, the war drum, which then alerted the entire rest of the goblin camp. Everybody on the inside, while we were a measly level 3, just hanging out. We were just stopping by, no intention to actually fight just yet. Not really. We were gonna pick our battles to level up at least one more. No, we didn't get that choice. So we struggled for that one for a little bit before eventually having to call in Lump and the other ogres to save our ass, and by God, they did. You want to make that fight a breeze, call them in as bodies. Damn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they all died by the end. We
100%.
we hosted a sigil for them after. It was fine. But they were our bullet shields for a while.
They were.
Sat them in a corner and then we picked off one by one.
Mhm.
Go, meat shield. Defend me.
Correct.
Very much
No,
so.
it was. They
It
couldn't
worked.
fit through the doors, so it was fine. It's not like they could come run to us for help. They were stuck out there.
Yeah.
But so we got
It
through
worked.
that fight. We worked through the rest of the goblin camp, who were now suddenly, for whatever reason, not super happy with us.
What?
They did give us some good XP though, and we made it out. But after beating them and completing a few more encounters as you move through Act 1, we wanted to take a load off and celebrate with the tieflings at the party at camp, because all the goblins were dead, so they could pass in peace now. So I remember being stoked about this part. It was the first big milestone we hit. We were all really excited. It was my first honor run. It was super exciting, and we were excited because we all got to start romancing the characters that we wanted. So for everyone's interest, my character had her sights set on Gale, believe it or not. Wait, there's more later though. There's more later. Lyric had her sights set on Lae'zel, which I think actually started as Shadowheart, but moved to Lae'zel later. We'll
Lays
get
out
there.
We don't need to talk
proposition
about
and we bled in.
And
There you
then
go.
Danny had his eyes set on Karlak, and I'm not going to read the rest of his personal note
Because
that he
it was the
left.
best choice, obviously. There's no opinion there. That is fact.
Oh my god.
So, Imogen, my character, was in the middle of rizzing up Gale when Caramel made a little oopsie while talking to Icaron and Shadowheart.
So what happened was Icaron was being a little poopy head and didn't want to hang out with the rest of the tieflings. So there was a charisma check to, get him to loosen up, have a drink. And me knowing Friends, remembered how Friends was. The spell, specifically Friends, basically lets you get an advantage on certain charisma checks. I forget, in honor mode, things are a little bit more difficult. And with the difficult setting, when it goes up, Friends can make someone go hostile after it ends. It's got a 10-turn time frame. So after I used Friends and got him to drink, I figured we were good. The party's really here. I go to try to rizz up Shadowheart because, I was thinking about it for a minute. And as I'm talking to her and I'm being in the middle of being rejected, the whole party goes aggro on us. This includes Shadowheart because I was talking to her. So Shadowheart and all the tieflings are now aggroed and ready to fight us in the middle of a party.
And this includes Zevlor and Halsin. All went aggro.
Real quick, there was only one other person that was kind of at our level, and it was Karlak, so I could see my affection level whenever I was actively trying to get in a relationship. I wanted to see how good I was doing, so I leveled her up as she was in our party. She was the only other person that it was even close to our level than everyone else in the camp.
Because Astarion, Lae'zel, Gale, and Will were also on our side. They weren't aggro, but they were all level 1 with 10 hit points
Ooh,
and no abilities.
my heart broke that day. This is my fault.
We almost tried to force shut down my computer to get the game to think that we crashed.
Yeah.
Because we did not know what to do.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
If you're
don't do that.
We didn't try it.
Smarter than you.
Don't do it. Don't do it. We were desperate. But the fight started. So what we did is we turned on our non-lethal attacks to knock everybody out. So we were able to escape that fight with Halsin knocked out, Zevlor knocked out, Shadowheart knocked out, and I think a couple others also knocked out. Some of them we did kill because
Alfira was one.
Karlak was not in our party, so she could not have non-lethal turned on. So as Karlak was hitting hard, she was hitting hard to kill. It is astounding we got out with so many people surviving. The other notable thing...
Stained her hands with a few tieflings' blood here and there.
Yeah,
that's so awful.
At least one tiefling family upset with us.
Yeah. The other notable event from this, as we were finished fighting, I was in my shakes, because that's what I do when I get nervous, and I didn't know what to do with my hands, so I started panic looting everybody that was knocked out. And I looted Halsin for all that he was worth. And for the next half of our game, Halsin was in our camp butt naked the entire time, because I had the clothes in my inventory, and then we went and sold them.
Oh no, I kept his jammies. I had a new
we did have his
jammies. I wore that. It looked good on me. I wore that shit well.
But Halsin, we have many a picture of Halsin butt naked in our camp.
Oh yeah.
For all of Act 1 and a lot of Act 2.
Did we complain? No.
We did put clothes back on him when the children part of the story came into play, because we felt like that was the responsible thing to do.
Did forget about that moment when we were like, okay, maybe this man needs clothes.
Maybe he needs something.
Can I pose the fact that maybe the responsible thing to do was not aggro your party, knock everybody out?
We didn't know.
Okay, we didn't know. I know. I just wanted a tiefling to have fun at the party. Was that really such a bad thing?
Look, there is a story out there of someone who almost completed their honor run and did the exact same thing Caramel did in the epilogue. and aggroed their entire camp against them and lost their honor run.
Ugh.
So the
again-
fact that we did it in Act 1 and we saved so many people, please.
A fucking miracle.
Yes. So moving on from the Tiefling camp and that experience, we went to bed that night and everyone woke up and no one was mad at us anymore. It was great.
It was a wonderful time after that.
Another notable fight that our heroes went on was to go talk to Auntie Ethel, to which Bandito had the best strat known to man, which I would like to share with everyone if you don't already know.
So basically, Auntie Ethel is kind of dumb because her only AI, especially when she's in the top part of the house, the only thing she's able to do is try to escape down below into like her dungeon area. Well, there's an easy way to stop that, and it's not just by trapping her. You lock the door. You sit there during her turn as she fiddles with the lock for like
For 10 seconds.
for a solid 10 seconds
Her
before
whole
you're like,
turn.
fuck it. It's your turn. And then you do your damage, it goes back, and she fiddles with the lock for another 10 seconds. And then gives up. So we sat and beat her to death. Like, it took multiple turns while she was struggling with that lock. But
We
we
also
didn't
the
have
red
to go
caps.
down below. Yeah, we dealt with the red caps while she was stuck.
So
But
Arcane Lock
kicked
is
her ass.
needed if you'd like to cheese that fight and not go down below with her, which I highly recommend.
You
It's
have
so
to lock
much
the
easier.
stairs, specifically.
Yes,
Yeah,
the
the
stairs
stairs.
to the behind the fireplace.
Yes.
So after defeating Auntie Ethel, our heroes went down to the Underdark, which I had never been before. I skipped that in my first playthrough because I thought there were spiders. Turns out there's not, but I was told there was, so I didn't go. So we went down to the Underdark and it was pretty smooth sailing. Nothing really threw us off. Nothing really was too bad. We had all been down there before. Smooth sailing. But we got to the Grim Forge and we went, we're not going to fight Grim. There's some PTSD in the group from how an honor run ended in the past from Bandito and Caramel. That we were like, we're not going to fuck with Grim. He's like level 10. Why would we do that? That's suicide,
do that.
right? But in the back of my head, I heard these two going, but the loot is so cool.
It's
But we
so
left. But consider this foreshadowing. Act 1 continued to go smoothly after that. We moved forward to the Githyanki Crush. We made it our personal goal to get Lae'zel her Githyanki egg, and the party may have left some dead Githyanki in their wake. But we walked into the room what? We walked into the room to speak with the Githyanki general, and I had known in a previous playthrough that you could pickpocket her. Turns out pickpocketing is harder in Honor Run, believe it or not. So pickpocketing didn't work. And we aggroed the entire room. We are level 5 at this point. Level 6,
Give or
maybe. Not
wasn't
super
good.
highly leveled at this point. I did have counterspell, so we must have been level 5 at least.
That sounds right.
So we started this fight and we're like, we're fine. We got this. We did not. Do either of you two remember how this went?
I survived because everybody started. We recovered like 4 times where everybody went up and then 3 people went down and then everybody went up and then 3 others went down. And it was only until like I think it was Shadowheart got like fully killed. She wasn't down, she was killed.
Mhm.
And we were like, you know what?
We
Maybe this isn't such a good idea.
need exit strategy now.
Yeah, so I took speed potions and invisibility potions and got the fuck out of there.
And we
so,
were lucky
yeah.
because if you wouldn't have moved, I still remember going, you need to take a speed potion or you need to dash or something and move because they can detect presence. And someone went to your area and almost got you.
They tried. They tried.
Yes.
But then I got the fuck out of there. We rezzed everybody and went back again.
And by the time we went back, people had already died from our first attempt and NPCs don't revive.
What?
So so the 4 of us were alive again and they were not. And it was a much easier fight.
So we demolished the survivors, is what happened.
Yeah, we came back
But-
after we rezzed and we're good.
Yep, they hit them with 2 tragedies back to back. They weren't ready.
But if I'm not mistaken, not to spoil the rest of our honor run, this was the closest we came to death.
Yep.
In the honor run. By far was
Mhm.
this encounter. This was the closest we came to losing the honor run.
By the way, I never dropped below half health. Everybody else died. I somehow kept above.
Yeah,
at
when
least
you
half
have
health.
80 hit points, when I have 40, it's a little bit more difficult for some of us.
Ain't
The
that
big
a
Your
the big
AC
strong
was like
dragon boy, all big and
19.
Hey,
strong.
I kicked ass. I don't want to hear anything that says otherwise. We needed muscle, and by God, I was going to be it.
You were. I won't lie about that. You were.
And then as our hero's grand finale to Act 1, I was pumped. We were going to go fight the Inquisitor. It was the final boss battle for Act 1, and I was excited. And then Bandito and Caramel said, no, we're not doing that. And I went, what?
Not right now, anyway.
We sent Shadowheart back to camp, and we all went invisible and walked right by them. Threw some grease on the ground, moved the statues in a little circle, went and got the blood of the Thunder, and we said goodbye and left. And
We didn't
never
blow
fought
up.
him.
Let me be very clear.
Oh, we didn't blow
the
up. No,
crush.
You
We
can
didn't
we
blow
did
up
do
the
the
crush.
puzzle. We did do the puzzle earlier, in order to get the key needed in order to stop the explosion of the crush. So the crush was still standing. People were still alive. That's important for later. So, Act 2. Immediately when we entered Act 2, we sided with the Harpers during the ambush, and then followed them to Last Light Inn, meeting Jahira, talking to her, and we were a little bit wary about doing the fight with Isabel. That
Right.
one could go bad really quickly. If Isabel is taken with the Flaming Fists, Last Light no longer exists, and everybody aggroes you. A very common place for honor runs to end.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But we put it in the back of our mind and said, I was determined. I said, we're doing that.
Yeah, you were very much like, we're doing this, whether you all like it
Yes.
or like you didn't necessarily have that energy, but it was implied.
We
I was like,
delayed it, but it was like
we
it was
are
going to
doing
happen. It
this.
was just
We delayed.
when it was going to
Yep.
happen.
I was like, we're not doing it
Correct.
right away. We're not doing it right away.
So we put it on the back burner and we kept going. At this point, we were level 7, as we followed some tips and tricks from people around the internet that had completed honor runs in the past, and they recommended level 7 before we started here. So I believe, okay, backing up, we were either almost level 7 or level 7 and felt like we needed to be higher. We actually went back into Act 1 and cleared out the entire crush.
Yeah.
All of them.
We went and killed everyone. And we
We
actually
did-
went back for the Inquisitor as well.
I think we were
So-
6 and then got to 7 after those points.
So we did the crush, we went back to Act 2, and we did some of the ambushes. That's where we kind of started. We went through the Shadow Curse lands and did the ambushes, which was extremely hard considering we didn't have a moon lantern. All we had was the blood of Lathander. That was tedious as hell, and that was awful.
We made do.
We did. So we did the ambushes, and then we actually went back and we killed the Inquisitor for XP. By the time we entered Moonrise Towers, we were level 8, and we got our
We were
moon
full.
lantern, and we left, and we said, peace out, Girl Scouts, we'll see you later. It was here, then I took my stand and said, we're gonna go fight Marcus with Isabel. We blew up that bitch with our high, we blew that bitch up. It went great. We had that high healing on Isabel. She wasn't gonna die. And then it also helps when your big strong Dragonborn can do 120 damage in one turn. And Marcus never even got one.
Nope.
So we were
I did
vibing.
not. Real quick, few tips. Supposedly there's a way where you can stack boxes to block
Yeah.
the doorway. We couldn't get it to work. I accidentally glitched myself on the roof. But
It was a good
it's
time.
supposedly it's possible. Second, if you can paralyze an enemy, any melee attacks against them are critical hit. Every single hit is critical hit. Stacked on with somebody who can attack, say, I don't know, 4 times in a single turn. That's a lot of damage stacked up really quickly. So it's worth your time.
Insert
It's worth your
meme.
time.
That's a lot of damage.
That's
That's a lot of damage.
Because it really was. It was so much. I was like,
Yeah, I kicked
"Dang."
ass.
It was
You
there
did.
that I think we realized that we were in a really good place, fight-wise, combat-wise, for this game. And
that's
now
when-
it was time to go fight the 3 Thorn bosses. We have the Gold Bitch, the Bartender, and the Doctor Dude. They all have names. I didn't care to learn them. I was terrified of Gold Bitch. It took me like 5 tries in my playthrough to beat her. But Caramel, do you want to walk us through our strategy for all 3 of those bosses?
Yes, our strategy. Don't fight. Just talk with them. They all need therapy. No, literally, it was every single one of the Thorn bosses you can talk your way out of. You do not have to fight them if you don't want to. And the fights are pretty brutal. They're not necessarily game ending. They can be, but so is every fight in that game. But it's still something you want to try to avoid. So for the gold bitch, just try to talk her out of it. Tell her that she's fired, or tell her that she needs a new job and a vacation, and she'll go.
Yep.
Easy.
So
The
fucking
sir,
leave.
the bartender dude, just have a drink with him. Tell him some stories. He'll explode on his own with happiness. So great. Now
other
the only one that doesn't receive redemption is the surgeon. You can't talk out of it. You just have to talk him into killing himself with his nurses. You
Because they
basically
need
say
training.
they need training. They're worshippers of Shar, and those skills are rusty. Y'all ain't doing it right. Show me how you're supposed to do it. And he goes, sure. Lays himself on the table, and the nurses show you how it's done. And that's the end of the Thorn family, with the exception of obviously Ketherick.
Yeah, so we
Surgeons are
took
all
quick.
psychotics. Got it.
Yeah,
Like I said, therapy. They all need it.
we took care of them.
You
We
get the
said
same
that-
XP, by the way.
Yeah.
Don't worry
Yes.
about fighting. There's no point. Just talk them out of it.
Yep, you get the same XP.
Mm-hmm.
It was during this time that we thought we should go back to Moonrise, because does anyone remember the fight as you come out of the Temple of Shar and everybody in Moonrise is standing in the lobby and they have the worst spells to fight against, and it's actually the worst fight of your life. It is terrible. Quick fix to that, kill Moonrise before you come back. Kill them all. Work through them room by room. Kill
Okay.
everybody in Moonrise.
I think we saved 2 people.
Yeah, there was like 2 people left that we missed.
Yeah, a
Somewhere.
traitor and then whoever else was in the room with her so she wouldn't get aggroed.
We also foolproofed
That's it.
this plan, in which my character stayed at camp, and Shadowheart and Danny and Lyric were the only ones to go fight. We cleared out that entire castle with only 3 people, just in case we got a little overwhelmed and we couldn't make it out. Then at least my character was back at camp with cash to revive everybody. It was a
And this
foolproof plan.
This is before you even hit the Temple of Shar. We did this.
Yep. So we killed them all. We
One
also went and
room at a
saved some. We saved some prisoners too, but someone died. Caramel, who died?
Wolbrin Bongle, and I don't regret a damn thing.
He
He's
was
an
the
ass.
only one that died. Like,
You're the only one that
everybody else
died out of the
survived.
rooms.
He
And I
died.
don't regret
Oh,
a
Brian.
damn thing.
So we didn't have their help in Act 3, but that'll come later. We cleared out Moonrise and we said it's time to go to the temple. We went and saw Raphael. We went down and we talked to Balthazar, got his little bell for his big beast that we might need. But we also know that, fun fact, much like you can talk the Thorns into killing themselves or leaving, you can also talk Yerger into doing the same thing. Yerger, who is another fight that can be on a run ending because of the design of the high ground in that room, is terrifying.
Monstrous.
It is
Just
terrible.
damage.
So we talked him into killing himself. Thank you, Caramel.
Again, they all need therapy. Every
all
single
need
one in
therapy.
Act 2 needs like a person to just vent to.
Look, the
Definition
Shadow-
of therapy scares me. The end result seems shockingly similar.
Okay, listen. My bard was not licensed, but she tried. Okay?
We're doing our best with what we've got.
Some people are okay to just take what the advice that they're given and do something completely odd, like throw themselves in hell.
Mhm. We also then went and re-talked to Balthazar and said we don't really want to fight him later by the Night Song. We're just going to kill him now, which was surprisingly a pretty easy fight.
It
So
was
if you
his
need that
brother
one,
that was the problem.
yeah. I saw a quick strat the other day. You could get into combat with like a rat, summon his brother in, so it's only 1v4, kill him there, and then go kill Balthazar.
Oh.
Which is also funny. Also around this time, as we were taking long rests, Caramel's character failed a dice check that she still to this day regrets not using an inspiration on. Care to share what happened?
Oh, was it Lizelle?
Yeah.
She wouldn't kiss me. It was cool.
Aww. For the rest
Because I failed the persuasion check to be like, come on, you want to kiss? And she went, no, you respect my boundaries. And I did. But it was a fucking lonely Act 2 for the rest of my day.
of...
Arlak loved me.
Gail also loved
I
me.
bought her nice things. I put her in a fucking dress. It was phenomenal.
Okay, we had a
Oh,
rocky start to our relationship, but I still think I had the best ending. That's all I'm saying. No spoilers yet. But
The other thing that I forgot to mention, as we cleared out Moonrise, we went into Ketheric's room and we found a surprise tool that can help us later. So keep that in mind.
Small little note hidden under his bed.
Yeah. You should read that one. It can be important later.
Mhm.
We were then at the pool to go down and talk to the Night Song. I still remember this. This was a Sunday afternoon. We were on like hour 4 of playing. And Bandito goes, what if we just went and killed Grim? Or Caramel went. What if we just went and killed Grim? Sorry, I might have that
It
one
was one of us.
incorrect.
Too. I
it
don't
was one of
remember
us. But I specifically remember we were at the pool and a couple of us go, okay, we're clicking it, and I was like, hold on,
No, you're right.
because I was the only one that didn't press let's go in, and you're like, okay, no, let's talk about it. Why don't you want to go in the next act? And I went, the Grim's still waiting for us. We could still go get the Grim.
And I said, no.
No.
Incorrect. We are not doing that. We decided we're not doing that. I only was okay with us going, and not that I was the only one making a decision, because everyone had an equal say. But
the strat ready to go.
I was convinced as long as my character could either A, be in a place where she could escape, or B, stay at camp, we could do this. Because then it would be a foolproof way that even if this went poorly, we still have our honor run. To then, these two brought the most crazy, ingenious strat, which is actually pretty popular, I've seen it a few times now, to the table, which is called...
Oh god, it is
Owlbear from the ropes, right?
Owlbear from the top
From
ropes.
the top ropes.
In
Hold
which...
on, what was his name? I can't remember.
Danton.
Danton.
Danton. We made a hireling druid, Danton, who can go into an owlbear shape, to which we went around the Underdark and found the ingredients for an elixir of the Colossus, gave him that, gave him enlarge, and then stood him up so the platform for Grim drops like this. But there's a cliff that stays up here as it drops. So me and the owlbear hung out up top, and Caramel and Bandito were down on the platform. Grim comes out. Grim has like 800 HP and is immune to most things, which is terrifying in any kind of fight. But what he's not immune to is an 800 kilogram owlbear jumping from a cliff on top of him, to which it does 900 some damage and one-shots the entire enemy. And he's dead.
The relief that came over me as soon as that owlbear landed, dead. Done. You heard the bells. Combat over.
I had slowly guided Grim to get as close to the others as possible. So I was standing right in front of him, had my camera faced so it was like kind of looking up at Grim. And then my game started like, I was like, guess we started the strat. We're going to see if it actually works. And then like a good second passes and I get another frame and it's just like a little leg. And then another frame passes just moments later and it's an entire bear ass. And then a little bit further and it's the entire bear crotch first delves into Grim and insta-kills him. It was fantastic.
Yeah. So it was about an hour of prep to make that character find the ingredients for about 2 seconds of payoff. But we got cool armor, and then me and Shadowheart had matching shields for the rest of the game. So Bestie Pals were happy, and we were good to go.
Grim gives you stuff that makes it where you can't be critical hit. It's very important. So worth your time. There's only a few items that do it, but if you get one on everybody, if you have a high AC, you don't take damage.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty great.
Surprise tool that will help us later.
So now that Grim was killed, we went back to the pool and we were ready to go. Fun fact, when you kill Balthazar earlier, you don't have to go fight him down by the Night Song, so you just get to go talk to her. I had also spent time moving up my approval rating with Shadowheart, that I had a medium approval rating by the time we did this interaction, so her interaction with me was very positive in that I just let her do whatever she wanted, and she threw her spear away and the Night Song was good to go. Dame Aelin had now entered the game. At this point, everything in Act 2 had been set up for us. We had done everything we needed to do. We actually did most of the big things. I skipped it. We did Halsin too. We did Halsin in the portal fight. Not as notable.
Owen was a bit of a bitch.
Yeah.
Not as notable.
There was a moment where we panicked, but we recovered very quickly.
But not a huge point in our story. We did that. The Shadowlands were saved. That is another thing we did. And we went walking back to Moonrise Towers. We killed the 2 enemies that we left over from when we cleared out the building, and we went and talked to Ketherick. We then told Ketherick that his dead wife would be really, really disappointed in him right now and that he should choose the light. And he went, okay. And then Dame Malin comes in and aggroes him again, so you have to do that little fight. And we flew into the Mind Flayer colony after him after he captured Dame Malin and escaped himself. We saved Zevlor, we saved Mizora. We did go along with a lot of Will's storyline for the purpose of making sure that Karlach's storyline
This is a surprise
worked out.
tool that will help us later.
Because we needed a certain ending with her. But we went through all of the fights. We went and did the brains, which was pretty cool. It was the first time I'd ever done that. And we went to go fight Ketherick and Merkel. We did the cutscene, and the strat here is that Dame Aelin is in the back right corner, and you can send in Scratch. Scratch the dog can go in invisible and just walk in without aggroing anyone, and you just put him right next to Dame Aelin. You start the fight, and he'll be there to release her and have her help you in your battle.
Because he can use help to pick her up.
He can. The other fun thing we did was that when you talk to Ketherick after Gortash and Orin leave, you can tell him again that his dead wife would be really, really sad about this right now, in which he'll, much like the other Thorms, will which brings out Merkel, and we were nervous about this. But to be so honest, I don't really remember anything super notable about this other than using Wall of Stone up on top to help mitigate damage. But we killed him.
I took a Colossus elixir and then stood in front of him and refused to move. And he couldn't kill me.
Yes.
So I sat there and kept beating on him.
So we did that, and Act 2 was done. We went and we found the Emperor, which wasn't a huge surprise for a lot of us because this is not our first time playing the game. And we moved into Rivington. We did dribbles. We started the open hand murders. Fun fact, the way we got into Baldur's Gate was not fighting the Steel Watch or talking our way into it. Bandito and Caramel got captured and then snuck out and found our waypoint, and we just walked through that way.
Caramel got captured. I somehow managed to avoid being caught and Misty stepped my way in, and nobody asked any questions. So I walked in down to Caramel in case there was a fight. I let myself in and nobody stopped me, so
it was a good time.
To a cool skeleton head, which is a skull. I don't know why I said skeleton head. That is a skull. It's a great riddle master.
So then while Caramel and I talked strategy on where we wanted to go next, Danny went sightseeing. Danny had a day out.
All across, I was picking up waypoints. I found leisure spots. I had a nice cup of tea staring out into the sunset. It was remarkable. Best day playing the game.
So we can tell who was the most stressed versus the least stressed during this run.
I had a night on the town.
So for the life of me, as I was writing this up, much like the burnout I experienced in Act 3, I also experienced burnout while writing this narrative. And I can't remember for the life of me the order that we did Act 3 in.
Act 3 has no order. You just do what
and that's why
done.
We walked through. Oh, we did Sorcerer's Sundries pretty early.
That was right. Sorcerer's Sundries was while I was sightseeing. You guys were having fun
that's
doing
correct. We were
because
we were getting the books.
I didn't want to do that.
Yep.
Because we had the Necromancy of Thay book that I was using. Necromancy.
Yeah, you did.
Yep. Yeah. So I was getting spells from that, so we were going through Sorcerer's Sundries in order to get those puzzles done. Mm-hmm. So we did that. Another notable fight that we did is we went down into the House of Hope. And my character did do the thing with the guy down there, and you know what it means. And it had repercussions later that I might have had. My character might have to orgasm in public, which was really, really exciting to experience as a player. That was really, really cool.
Is that one of those achievements that far too many people seem to have?
No, that one wasn't an achievement.
It's not an achievement, which somehow makes it worse.
Yeah, a little bit.
If there was an achievement, it could be justified, but small thing to mention. In most Baldur's Gate playthroughs, when you're in the House of Hope, somehow, hypothetically, were Hope to die, she would just so happen to drop a shield that has a +4 AC. That is the only +4 AC shield in the game. So, thinking that it would transfer over to Honor Run, I may or may not have mansplain, manipulate, manslaughter my way into convincing the group, after we cleared out everybody and we were about to go back for Raphael, that we could just have a happy accident in the hallway, and Hope would just so happen to lose her legs. She doesn't. It's just the normal shield. Don't do it. It's not worth it.
Don't kill Hope.
Yeah, we killed Hope, and then we
I
didn't get the
regret
shield.
that. That's my biggest regret.
And then we
You didn't deserve
shield.
that.
If we got the shield, 100% worth it.
We went
I
through
was
the
at, like,
entire
26
bother
AC.
to save her, which also killed Caramel at one point. That was another res I had to do because she
Oh,
got
yeah,
thrown
'cause
off
I
the
got
platform.
flung.
We got thrown off the edge.
Can I just say, I was the one person who got incapacitated, killed, and flown off the path every opportunity an enemy had. I don't know why, but that was just what my MO was. I would be I would have one turn. I would use my action surge because I figured I'm not getting another turn. And lo and behold, I'd be incapacitated right after that somehow. And they would actually walk over the other two to come to me and kill me. We've all
lot.
seen
They
it.
did a lot.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, if you're a bard, talking is great, but when you're actually in a fight, you're fucked. You're
Well,
not going
multi-class-
anywhere.
Multi-class early, because
I
you won't
had
get
to
another chance.
multi-class to a fighter, and honestly, best decision I made. The fighter class with it, perfect.
So I'm glad to hear that your curse from Overwatch transferred over.
It did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do we want to talk about Raphael and that shebang?
Yeah, so as we were walking down or getting to the House of Hope, I had to be the one doing all of the puzzles to get us to open up the portal to hell because these two were so over encumbered with force, or was it smoke powder barrels and
And
fire
the other
wine
one, and
barrels?
fire wine.
So because
yeah.
once we entered the House of Hope in Avernus, we dropped every barrel and we looked up the exact spot that Raphael was going to spawn, and we might have created a little bit of a barrel hut for him. So that when he spawned in during the fight, he'd be right in the middle of it. How unfortunate would it be if it just happened to blow up? So as we planned, he spawned right in the middle of our barrels. Caramel casted the Globe of Invulnerability, which is the most OP spell in the entire game.
100%.
And I threw a fireball at the barrels. Your game will lag out really bad.
A lot.
It takes a hit. It's like, have you ever seen those tests, the stress tests on video games where they spawn like 100 like loaves of bread into like a screen to see how much it could handle? It was like one of those tests. Like how much it...
Cheese test.
Yes. That one. But it was like, how much explosion can it show on this screen? We thought it was gonna kill him. It didn't. It got down to like
how many barrels?
Oh my god, it was like 30.
It was to the point
330.
where I had to break up the bags, because if I put any more into one bag, the bag breaks. I only learned of this, like, it wouldn't let me put more bombs in the bag. Because if you drop the bag, if you throw it any which way, if the bag becomes part of the world again and not on your back, it will break and everything will fly out. So I had to split it between two bags because I had too many explosives on me that I had been hoarding since Act 1.
We also did not recruit Yerger. We used all of our inspiration.
We
couldn't
tried.
hit the roll.
We tried.
But with the use of our spells and whittling down Raphael while everybody else couldn't harm us, he was a pretty easy enemy to defeat. By the end of the day, we ended the fight pretty healthy, if I had to say so. Not
as bad as the crush.
No. Another big fight we went and did was that someone tripped us off to a Gortash strategy. Caramel, if you wanted to elaborate further on that.
So while we're doing our honor run, my fiance Crash was doing his, and he had tipped me off to this little strategy of Gortash. If you're good with him, you can do this, but in our specific run, we had destroyed the Steel Watch, so he wasn't really good with us. No biggie. What we do is turn invisible, the big bad strong Dragonborn goes invisible, and you can just grab Gortash from his little area in front of all his little minions in his little office and just drag him outside, and then you can fully beat the shit out of him
You do like
outside of his castle.
improvised melee attack.
Yes.
Yep, and you just
walk.
You'll walk him outside.
You'll
If you
see
throw
him
him on the
boiling.
ground.
No one cares.
Yeah, it didn't work for me though. We ended up having to give you a
Oh, yeah, that's
cloud
right.
potion and giving it to you because the game wouldn't let me pick him up. I tried like a good 5 or 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that, yeah. Yes, I ended up
Didn't
picking him
like
up.
as intended.
And there's
Drag his
also a
ass out.
specific point on the wall, the battlement's wall, where you can throw him off and he'll land on the bridge outside of his own castle. Nobody cares that he ends up dead, thrown off his own castle.
Like those 2 people in his office, but even then.
We had to try a few
They were
times too. I think
executed.
I used Thunderwave twice. Shadowheart used Thunderwave. It took somebody else's gust of
I think-
wind.
It was either him or me, because
I don't remember. It
We
was one
all
of
we all
us.
did all our push.
We all
push back.
tried a lot. We got him off that fucking edge. I pushed him.
And he was dead. And you could
So he
walk
was
down there
easy.
and grab his netherstone.
Oh yeah.
Also at this time, Orin came into camp. Orin came into camp and stole one of our camp members. The problem was, during this time, I got a little tired of Gale. I wasn't feeling Gale anymore. But Halson was giving me the look over there. So I went and talked to Halson, and as people know, Halson in the game is polyamorous. So he's okay with the character having multiple partners. Gale is not okay with that. So I said, sorry, Gale, we're going to break up. I'm going to go spend time with Halson. I'm not kidding you. The next cutscene we get is Orin kidnapping Gale. So I broke that man's heart, and then he got snatched by Orin. And so we had to deal with that now. We ended up doing the fight with the murder tribunal, which I didn't think was super important to cover. It was a fight. We cheesed it a little bit, got him by himself. Good to go. But then we went and fought Orin. We fought Orin. That was a fight, and it was about 3 a.m., and I thought our honor run was ending.
Because
That
she kept
edict
stunning
of-
like one person at a time. And pick
Who
us
did she
apart.
stun? Who did she kill? Who did the
What?
Boon of
Hold on.
Bane like to constantly go after? Me. The bard.
After you, it was me, but it did go for you
Twice.
a lot.
Twice for me. First time, I had to get revived. I didn't realize I had to kill someone my turn, and then that'd be it. The first step after that, we figured it out, but it did get scary for a minute.
Yeah, Baal's Edict is the condition that the big skull on the wall gives people, in which it requires you to land a killing blow before the end of your next turn, or you will die. The problem that we ran into was that Caramel went into Displacer Beast form, and every single under 600 HP character that you could kill all had Sanctuary, and she had no AoE spells. So we were a little bit out of luck. It's okay.
It just kept
That's
throwing
what our-
people off the ledge.
Yeah, we kept pushing people off the
Somehow
ledge.
it works. So
Fun fact, even though you can't, if you snuck down in there, you could do the same invisibility strat that you do with Gortash, where you could throw Orin off the cliff, and her netherstone will spawn at your feet. Fun fact. We wanted her outfit. That was really important to us, that we
And
had
her
her
knife.
outfit.
I wanted her knife.
And her knife, but her outfit was also important.
I don't know.
So
who
we
did it.
killed her the old-fashioned way. She had fearful on a lot of us, which was a problem, but we made it. We did it. We killed her. I
Excellent.
thought we were done after that. Also along the way, we disabled the steel watch. It was pretty easy. We didn't have a hard time with it.
It was
The
it took
fight-
a minute, but
The
Her-
boss fight at the end got a little bit dicey, but once again, that life cleric really comes into play. And also keep your arrows of transportation around. That was really helpful at that time to be able to move around with the fire. So as we are moving at the speed of light through our honor run, I found a little video at the end that kind of gave some ideas on how to cheese the last fight. So moving into the last fight, there are 2 different areas that you have to pass before you get to the brainstem. One of them is a large fight
Courtyard.
where almost every single boss or variant feels like it's there. They have like a specter and other people. They have Spellcasters, it's a lot.
By
It can be
far.
a lot if you're not ready for it.
Yeah.
There's also the ascent up to the brainstem where the Nautiloid is dropping bombs on you. Not fun either. Not a good time. Fun fact, send one of your party members who's invisible that can fly up that mountain. You really only need one invisibility potion. And then you can touch the brainstem.
And your whole party gets teleported to the
Yep.
brainstem.
So Danny just skipped past fucking everybody.
We skipped the first 2 fights and we walked in. Full HP ready to roll for the last fight. To which we Misty stepped and Dimension Doored across the battlefield and opened up the portal.
And left everybody behind.
We
also
specifically
used
had
Globin-
Orpheus.
We had
Sorry.
Orpheus. Yep, we did use Orpheus. We
'Cause the
did free
Emperor's a
him.
bitch.
Because the Emperor is a bitch.
He is a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
We had Orpheus. We opened up the portal. Bandito and Orpheus got in first.
Yeah.
And Shadowheart. Because of the allies we called, it broke up our party in turn order. So me and Caramel were stuck waiting a whole entire another turn in order to enter the portal. But those 3 got in and started taking their hits. Caramel then got, what was it? It wasn't stunned. It was command fleed.
Command flee or something like that, yeah.
Caramel couldn't move. So we entered
per
the
usual.
brain.
So I held the fort down while they took care of the brain.
And Caramel was in charge of Orpheus at the time.
Yeah.
So she was helping
That's great.
Orpheus
Halt.
destroy
Use
the brain.
command halt.
Halt.
Thank you. Bandito did a lot of damage, and then I went, we have speed potions. Let's take care of this. I took one, Shadowheart took one, and we had 4 scrolls of Disintegrate. You ever done 180 damage in 1 turn?
We gunned the fucker down.
Caramel didn't even get to come in.
No,
Caramel
I
never
didn't
saw
need
the
to.
brain.
No
I didn't need
chance.
to. Lyric has
I
a
did
squeamish belly. She's not into
I
it.
Is
took
that the artistry of war?
Artistry of
Oh,
War,
yeah.
2 scrolls of Disintegrate, and then I remember Shadowheart was done with her turn, but I hadn't ended it yet, and it had the brain had 60 HP left, and we're like, okay, we just have to survive 1 more turn. I went, or I could just do this. Speed potion, Disintegrate, done. Game over. We won.
Doesn't
Yay!
That wasn't how we got the achievement, though. You still have to go through
Complete
the
the
entire ending
epilogue.
and go to the epilogue. So on our way to the epilogue, we got our little ending scenes in.
Yes.
Bandito, you wanna?
real quick clarification. I've made it very clear that Karlach is objectively the best character in the game, especially to romance. It's still true, don't get me wrong. But a few things need to be noted. First, the game was patched so that you don't need that little whiny bitch will to live in order to have Karlach saved. Second, you don't have to kill Answer. You don't have to do his quest at all. You can just follow Karlach and tell her right at the end, hey, let's go to Avernus. I'll go with you. We'll kill that fucker and keep you alive. She did. It's wonderful. Best scene. Third, very quickly, it doesn't matter what you do. Don't mention that you want her to go back to Avernus until the end. You lose points with her by telling her over and over again, you need to go back. I'll go with you. We need to go back. It pisses her off. Don't do it. Wait until the end. You'll get what you want anyway. It's worth the wait. So I got the ending I wanted, even though we didn't go for Onsor. So I thought I wasn't going to. I was emotionally not ready.
I'm like, I was trying to tell you, you'll be fine, I promise. But you're like, no, I only know it this way.
Yeah.
I was telling
so
you the same thing.
The game changed, and it didn't tell me. They changed the game to trick Bandito. I see how it is.
Hey, if the game hadn't changed, I wouldn't have had my ending. They recently put it in as soon as we finished ours, a little bit before. They put in a new ending for Lae'zel. And before, unless you were a Githyanki as well, you couldn't go with her. You had to be either stay with me and be a selfish bitch, or let her go and be sad for the rest of your life. So usually I would just say, no, I'm gonna be selfish. You're staying with me. Now it lets you go with her. So at the end, when I'm like, I'm gonna join you in defeating Vlaakith, you can jump right on next to her on a dragon and fly into the astral space. This is the best ending ever. There's no, I'm sorry, Bandito. There's no competition.
It's wrong,
Flying
but
on a
that's okay.
dragon
No, that's cool. Don't get me wrong. That's really
So-
fucking cool.
I didn't really get an ending. Gale died when we went to
Oh, yeah.
Orin.
I forgot about that little.
We
little
tried to
nope.
save him.
We
We tried. We did
Orin
everything
killed
we
him.
could.
Orin did
killed
kill him. I'll own up to it. It's all poetic that I was part of the reason he died. As an evocation wizard, fun fact, if you're casting an evocation spell that's AoE around your allies, the damage doesn't get done to them. Depending on what kind of wizard you are, those spells provide your allies immunity to what you're doing. In my head, I went, well, Gale's my ally, so my evocation spells I can put all over the AoE of Orin's area and it won't touch him. Fun fact, he got hit with level 4 Ice Storm to start the fight, so we
I'm
were
now-
not off to a
We were
great
still
start.
struggling.
Could we have not just put Globe in
Yes,
on our
we could
Guardian
have.
for him?
But
we're
then,
not gonna think about
everyone
it.
around him would have had it too, which would have been
Yes.
a problem.
That
It
was
may have become a
problematic.
problem. Yeah.
But
I'm just thinking
Gale
about it now.
died.
There was nothing else we could have done.
Nothing
Gale
else we
died.
could have done.
It was a shame that it happened, but there was nothing we could have done.
Gale died. So I had Halson, but because Halson's a later in the game romance, he doesn't really have an ending scene. He has a lot of dialogue in the epilogue, which got muted for me for whatever reason, so that was a little bit disappointing. But I didn't have much of an ending other than I broke Gale's heart and then he died. So
You brought the
Oops.
drama, and I love it. It's so
it was just the Imogen
yeah.
reality TV show in Act 3.
So
Carlac
fun.
called me sweetheart, and it's implied that we got married while in the real world.
Me and
That's
Lizelle kicking ass in the astral,
Oh, good.
doing all that.
All right. I know we've been talking for a long time through our narrative experience of the game. I want to give us all 30 seconds to talk last final thoughts and feelings about ending our honor run.
I mean, I've got a question for you all after.
Beautiful.
Okay.
I know for myself, I'm so glad that I did it. I'm glad that I get to tell people now about the experience. It's a really cool achievement to have. I'm extremely excited and thankful I got to do it with Caramel and Bandito before they finished their own, because that was part of the reason I also wanted to finish my own playthrough, because I wanted to do it with them. So it was really exciting, and I wouldn't have wanted to do it to others. So I had a really great time. And now these two are stuck with me for the rest of their lives because that's a bonding experience. So
Yeah,
Oh,
we're stuck.
absolutely. This is it. You won't get rid of us anymore. It's over.
Caramel, you
Or
go
rather, it's just beginning.
yeah, right.
As soon as I heard that doing the honor run gave you gold dice, I was in. But I genuinely thought this would be like a few years before I got it. So when I told Bandito, and Bandito also heard about the gold dice, we were in.
It
And
was-
again,
we were
we
hooked.
tried before Nux joined. We tried and we died. I will say our first one was very much a let's just see what
Let's
happens.
fuck around.
So
And
maybe
you
the first
found
one was
out.
very quickly
Not
that
like, yeah,
we
if you
were
force him to kiss his foot and then fuck up that roll, everybody hates you. Everybody hates you.
we might have ended a run that way. But as soon as like Nox joined, I had just a good feeling. So I'm really glad you joined. I'm really glad we did this, and I'm sorry to the tieflings that again I just wanted a good time. I'll always regret that, but it was worth it.
Fuck Wolverine. Carlac's the best love interest. It's no competition.
Womp womp.
You guys
Womp
were the
womp.
best teammates I've had. And I had a fourth. Oh, hold on, I had a fourth. Oh yeah. I am going to sincerely apologize for the insurmountable amount of damage that I dealt to teammates. It more than I checked back later to get a ballpark of what the number was. It was about quadruple the damage that you guys did to each other, because I didn't realize that if you throw the thunder like trident, it does thunder damage in like a radius, including teammates. And it took a minute for me to realize that. So unintentionally, people were taking a lot of damage that may or may not have been coming from me. So
I forgive
fights
you.
ended quicker. I can give you
did.
that much.
It
Fights did end quicker. Well, yeah.
So I guess a great question to end on then would be, if you could change one thing, whether it be in the real world or in the game, and change it, what would it be?
Like for our honor run?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's
Oh
what
my
I
god,
thought.
I wish I wouldn't have gotten burnt out.
ignoring. Oh, there's a point in the game going into Act 3 where Karlach invites you out on a date. I said, hey, wait here at camp for a second. We'll go on it after. Because what's supposed to happen is when you end the night, you get a cutscene where you go off and have a date. But because we had a few people doing things like that, it chose someone else's cutscene over mine. And I didn't get to see that cutscene as Danny. That pissed me off.
I got bear sex and you didn't get jack shit.
We were getting laid while you were just sad
No.
sitting in a corner having tea.
No. I had a grand old time, okay? I want to hear it.
Excuse me, I need to record that line for
Yeah, I'm like, first preface, Karlach, I didn't have to make a roll to ask her to kiss me. First of all, I didn't have to roll for that shit. She asked me. So fuck you.
I mean, I'm gonna answer. I have my regrets, of course. I've already regretted using the spell friends. That's like my biggest one. But ultimately I don't think I would change anything because that's how we got to win our honor run in the end. Like, yeah, we've had some bumps. There's never, I don't think I know an honor run that hasn't had bumps unless they're just cheesing
Perfect.
every fight. We wanted to still experience the game while still getting our honor run. We were not going to do like, no one gets any like romances. We're just going straight for the goal of winning. We still wanted to have fun, so that's why I'm like, I wouldn't change anything.
It just
I
wasn't
enjoyed.
the priority.
Oh, I would. I'm saying I didn't necessarily cause problems on purpose for fun, but the problems did cause some fun in there. So again,
I mean, the countless photo shoots we had on top of Moonrise or in throne rooms, like we
They're
spent
really good pictures, though.
they're so
probably
good.
a good hour of our 90 hours was us just taking pictures in the game, which I don't regret. I'm looking at my second monitor has my wallpaper up right now, and it's us on top of Moonrise, and that's not changing for a while.
That's my
Oh my
profile picture
God.
for Steam is,
Yeah.
I think, us on Moonrise.
So I guess, like I said, I think I wish I would have spent a little bit more time being less stressed about winning and more enjoying it. And I think Caramel and Bandito might, with their extended tries, might have had that a little bit of that experience, but I think that's what burnt me out by the end of it. So my piece of advice for anyone going to do this is to make sure that you're taking the time to do it on your schedule and doing it as you want to play, not to just get that achievement. Make sure that you're doing it for enjoyment and that you're doing it on your own time. Because 9-hour sessions on a Sunday really take a toll on you.
It's a lot.
We did that twice.
Yeah,
That
we
was
did.
insane.
Yeah, y'all scheduling for it was kind of insane.
Y'all available Thursday? No, how about Friday?
Bandito
No,
just
Saturday?
asking every other day. It
Saturday.
didn't matter how many times I told him my schedule.
We
Yeah,
got
oh.
in a bad habit of saying, hey, I'm
Me?
busy. Shut up. We got in a bad habit of saying, I'm busy these days. This works for me. Because then the next morning, I don't fucking remember all that.
And
So
you
we
would ask
had
me, and I tell you, oh, Nox is not available, and you're like, I don't remember.
So I would send it
Type my
anyway.
message.
I'd be like,
To the group
hey,
chat.
are
Hey, Nox,
you really busy?
are you actually
Good
busy, or you
Lord.
just don't want to hang out with us?
Are you just lying to me?
There was only one time that I remember I was like, I'm absolutely available to play, and I'd actually.
And that's also okay, because that was the one thing I
Yeah.
didn't want. We still were gonna have, I think, no matter what, was burnout. But
It was
I
just a
think we
matter of-
I think that was
mitigated it.
before we went
the
and
best
got
we could.
Gortash.
Mm.
I was like, I'm so done. I can't
Oh,
do
Act
this
3.
anymore.
Act
Act 3 is a lot. But
Yeah.
all in all, I'm glad that we did it, and I think we all share the same sentiment that we had a really great time and now get to not shut up to anyone about our golden dice and how
We
cool
have
we are
golden
because
dice.
we did that.
Mm.
We're
So,
better than you.
we posted a full
100%.
it took like 10 minutes to
Crown
read
hits.
through victory speech in our D&D chat, and everyone probably hated us for it, but we don't care. It was fun to memorialize.
I got to post pictures for my my day out on the town.
It was Danny's day out.
Danny's day out.
Because
But starting
blue dragonborn.
starting to wrap up our discussion on Honor Run, we're going to transfer more into our segment of Real World and talk a little bit more about what we're doing outside of our lives online, whether that's books we're reading, TV shows we're watching, or music we're listening to. We will start there. Zach, will you kick us off?
Yeah, I freaking finally finished a book.
Eh,
I finished a couple books.
two books.
Two books, and started a third. One of them I didn't enjoy very much. Not gonna get into it too much. But somebody in the Discord server, Brick House, did mention a book to me way a while back. And it is called The Song of Achilles.
Oh yeah.
Don't spoil
It
it.
is.
It's on my list.
I'm not going to spoil anything.
I'm right too.
I'll say very, very briefly. It's about it's a retelling of Achilles, the tale of Achilles. But it's specifically through Patroclus. Patroclus is
Patroclus.
eyes.
Yeah.
Patroclus. Who is his counselor, I guess would be a good word probably to call him. Really, really
best friends.
more than best friends. Really good though. Like holy crap, this book is so well written. Every line feels, it's not like rhyming, it's not anything like that. It's not written like a poem.
Like a cadence.
It doesn't even necessarily have a cadence, it just has a flow. And it just feels like everything is very natural. And a lot of the feelings in it feel really, really genuine. I had some really, really high praise in general for it, but I'm waiting to talk about it with Brickhouse because I messaged her with some of my thoughts and I haven't heard back. Caramel?
Oh, yeah. So I've been listening to a lot more 21 Pilots because I have two friends
I
that
wonder
are
why.
I have a few friends that are super into the lore, and there might have been a PowerPoint night. So I learned so much. And now I'm just re-listening to it. And I do like them, but I guess I didn't realize how much 4D chess they were playing with their music that like I can appreciate it so much more. Right now, Overcompensate is my like top song right now on Spotify. So that's what I'm listening to. It's so good. It's just so good.
Tyler Joseph is a genius.
Tear My
bad.
Heart's a favorite. I don't think that's gonna leave.
Oh,
anytime
that one's a
soon.
good one.
It's
That is a
good.
good one.
If there's any desire to hear more about that, join the Discord server. There's two people who will give you a whole PowerPoint.
They'll tell you everything
A
about it.
lot. And apparently that wasn't all of
good.
it. We sat there for like 30 minutes.
Of
And
course
that
it
wasn't the
all of
whole
it.
lore.
Oh my
They
god.
did
That
try
was-
to condense as best
They
as they could.
tried.
They
And
failed.
honestly, wasn't mad. Wasn't even mad.
Tyler Joseph has been telling this story since 2007, so there's so much. But for myself, this is unrelated to Zach's, but don't read Colleen Hoover.
Whoa.
Not related to anything that he was talking about, but don't do it to yourself. She's not worth it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I finished the tandem read, everyone. I did it.
You did.
I did it. One of them broke my heart because it was sad, and one of them broke my heart because they were happy and they shouldn't have been. Because they were misled by some information. So it was just a bad feeling all around at the end of those books. But then I started the finale of Throne of Glass, which is called Kingdom of Ash. And I have 300 pages left, and it's a 980 page book. So like I am getting there, and I am terrified. I am scared. SJM. Just kidding. That's not a threat. I love you, girly pop. Keep writing stereotypical men that I fall in love with. Thanks.
You know that Stephen King book, Misery? Don't become Misery.
It was a joke. It was a joke. She's a wonderful writer, and I can't wait to see what she does next. But Jesus Christ.
For legal purposes, she's muted.
I'm joking.
Speaking
I love
of
my
books,
books.
Sarah J.
I just
Maas,
love my books.
however,
Just bleep my entire thing. Why don't you?
Got it. Bleeping.
Good
but
lord.
speaking of Sarah J. Maas, I was lied to.
Ah,
Or
he
more
was.
accurately, it's not.
But you can't
It's
spoil
not
anything.
actively lying. It was lying by omission. I made, when I was reading the first book, a few very direct and aggressive statements that
So
at the time,
Court of Thorns and Roses, to be clarified.
at the time, I believe was 100% in the right.
No.
And then I finished the second one.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm reading the third one. I was wrong. I
You
was
did say it.
very
on record.
wrong. I was extremely wrong.
I know what
Um,
you're talking about
I
just
had
based
the
off of
story.
that very vague amount of sentences.
Caramel,
I
do you
was
know what he's
completely
talking
off
about?
point.
Are you familiar with the general?
Yeah.
Bandito, at least you didn't get tattooed on your ankle like a poor girl did on TikTok. So
Oh, oh,
In the first
Oh.
book, he was such a. And then there was the second book, and the third.
spoilers for Core of Thorns and Roses. Sorry, it's been out for 6 years. Catch up. I don't know what to tell
Yeah.
you.
We're there.
But finished, and I'm starting the third book, and I love it. I have a favorite character that I can't say because it'll cause spoilers.
Yeah. That's okay. I have a favorite character from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and someone's still watching it, so I can't even
Yeah,
say my
you can't
favorite
say
character.
anything. Sorry.
I had to tactfully avoid that.
It's
By the way,
okay.
real
We'll
quick,
talk more
how far
later.
are you? How far are you?
I just got to episode 13 in the first season where Zuko breaks him out of jail, so I'm starting to work on it.
The blue
Blue
demon
Spirit. Blue
Yep.
Spirit.
Mm.
Blue Spirit. All right.
I love that one. All right.
Now that we're getting a little off topic, Zach,
well, we'll wrap it
bring
up.
us out.
Please do.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for being a part of our discussion today. We release these episodes weekly. If that's not enough for you, we are always here in the Snowflake Sanctuary Discord. You want to talk Sarah J. Maas? There will be a discussion somewhere. You want to talk video games? There's probably more discussions about that, but these days, 50-50. If you have your own insight, you have any ideas you want to hear, you think we just sound like a cool group of people to chill with, click the link in the description, join the Discord. We've got a whole separate conversation that's just for us sweaty casuals folks. If you like what you're hearing, you want to see us, our faces, we'll be on YouTube. If you see us on YouTube, you want to listen to us, we are where most podcasts are these days. Slowly expanding that list. Caramel, Bandito, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone else for listening, and we'll hope to see you for the next one. Bye.
Bye.
No hands,
You're
Zach.
the only
No
one
hands.
not doing
Two
double
hands.
Come on,
hands.
Zach. I'll wait.
You're the only one not doing the double hands. Come on, jazz hands.
I love that my
Jazz
camera's
hands.
bad enough. They will.
Bye.